Hey YouTube! So that was my little piece of my audition piece for Blue Devils International. Camera's not off center, sorry about that. That wasn't perfect, you know. This is the Hutchinson Sonata. I played in my freshman year of college all those years ago. Just a little, it's like for euphonium players, this is cake. For me, this is not cake. And I'll talk about some of those issues I had in just a second here. So I'm here talking about valve instruments, specifically euphonium and baritone. They're here, you can't see them. For trombone players, which I am. I started on euphonium, I should say that, in middle school. Played it all the way through high school. I started trombone in like my junior year of high school. And my sophomore year of college, I decided to play trombone instead. So I started on euphonium, just so you guys know. I'm not very good at it anymore, so it's not like it's a huge deal now. Alright, so, doubling. When you play more than one instrument, like, say you play trombone and you want to play euphonium, you are now a doubler. And that means, I have this little tenet for you. If you play two instruments, you have to practice twice as much. And I wouldn't say that's exactly true. I play bass trombone and I practice euphonium every day, but I do not play euphonium twice as much, just because I'm not playing it at like the highest level I can. If I wanted to play both at like a pro level, I'd have to play both the same amount every day. So, just so you guys know, if you want to get an instrument up to par, just kind of like meh level, like I'm doing with euphonium right now, then you don't have to practice it quite as much. But if you want to play it at the same level as your other instrument, or if you want to get it to the same level, you have to play twice as much. And it's not, you can't just be like, oh, I play euphonium, and you like never practice it and you just get it out to play for concerts or something. Don't do that, because you're not going to play it as well as if you practice the horn. Especially if you play another instrument and they don't really like jive. Even though trombone and euphonium are very close, they play in the same range and they're both in B flat. You have to practice both to maintain your, skill at both. Alright, rant over. Going over the valves versus slide positions. I'm not going to go over that in this. Get a fingering position chart, You can do that yourself. I'll just take up extra time talking about it here. Alright, so going on to the advantages and disadvantages of valves. So, there are a couple advantages to valves. They're really fast. That's my first thing I've got there. There, I just played chromatic scale like 3 times in a row, up and down, B flat. You can't do that on a trombone. I mean, some people can. They can probably go. I can't do that. I mean, you have to articulate that fast, so you have to be double tonguing at really insane speeds. You have to be moving all 3.5 feet of slide at that speed, which is really hard. I mean, it's just a lot of mass. It's a lot of muscle you're using to do that. For valves, you're just using these 3 fingers, maybe 4 here, maybe 5 using these guys or your thumbs on certain tubas. So, there's a lot less stuff involved. So you can be a lot faster with valves. And you can definitely be technical with trombone, but the valves definitely get the speed edge on trombone. Second thing is you can slur all the time. So, I'll play some baritone. So, like that B flat scale. That's really dirty and not especially good. But that was B flat, chromatic scale from B flat to B flat. It doesn't have to be in B flat. Like 3 times or whatever in the space of playing one of those on trombone. So you can just slur everything on euphoniums and baritones and whatnot. And that just speeds things up. It makes for a nice, pretty sound. You can slur stuff. And you can definitely, like, natural slur on trombones and stuff. But you only get a few of those. You don't get one for every different valve or slide position. Alright, moving on, disadvantages. So, there's a ton of disadvantages to valves. I like slides more than valves. They're faster, but I don't like valves as much. One thing is tuning. Trombone, you can tune every note perfectly. I mean, most people don't. But you can. You have the possibility of tuning every note exactly perfectly, because you have, even if you have valves, you have this 3.5 foot long tuning slide in your right hand. You can do everything. With valve instruments, even if you have like a tuning slide trigger, like on Bessons and Yorks, I think Sterlings maybe have those. Maybe York is a Sterling, I can't remember. Even with those, you have just like this little tiny range of changing the pitch. So you basically have to do everything with your face or with valve slides, etc. It's just not the same. So tuning sucks. Coordination. So I'll get this back out. What I mean by coordination is coordinating the valves with the tongue. So, yeah, you can slur everything, but you don't get to slur everything. I used to do this as like a high school kid, maybe a college freshman. I would just, wouldn't pay any attention to the markings on the page, and I would just slur everything because, hey, it's easy. But, for instance, I have a bunch of stuff here. I'm not sure if you can see this, but there's lots of slur to, tongue to passages. I'll play a little bit of one right here. So there's like 3 or 4 of them right there, and I didn't play them perfectly. I'll separate one out right here. So I have slur from A to G, and then tongue, C, D, E natural. So on trombone, that'd just be da 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 da. You get to you get to tongue every one. You just kind of lessen it a little bit for the A to G. But on this, you can slur, and then you have to tongue, so it's totally different. I mean, you get to not articulate at all, and then you have to articulate all the way. So there's a total, like, didact. I can't remember the word for it now. They're totally different things. So, okay, under 10 minutes already. So you really have to make sure you know how to coordinate your tongue and valves. And it's just the same as coordinating tongue and slide. And a lot of people can't do that very well either, especially like slurring, stuff like that. It's really hard. And with this, you just basically have to... I'm forgetting words left and right today. You have to isolate. There we go. You have to isolate each valve with the tongue. So maybe a good exercise would be pick an easy note, like F. And then pick a valve. Work on first valve. And then just go. And just isolate that valve, isolate the articulation, and don't articulate sometimes, so you can work on slurring. And do that for every valve combination. I mean, there's some that you don't use very often, like third valve. I use it for a high G here because it's more in tune. But just isolate. So it might be hard, but you just have to work on it, and eventually you get to do it fast. And eventually it's just like playing trombone, except you're using just your 3 fingers, 4 fingers maybe. And it just takes work coordinating these with this. And that's just the same as coordinating your arm, maybe these 2 fingers if you're playing bass trombone with your mouth.